Hey, welcome back to the Get Out of Debt Guys show. Have you ever wondered why some folks clock out, fire up the gig app, and bank an extra 60 to 120 bucks before bed, while others drive in circles and barely cover gas? Quick disclaimer before we dive in, if you stick around until the end of today's show, you're going to hear a story so funny there's a small but very real chance a little bit of pee might come out. Listener discretion and maybe an extra change of pants is advised. I'm Steve Rode, the original Get Out Debt Guy, and today we're picking Damon's brain on making after-work, after-dark money with gig apps. You know, things like DoorDash, Uber, Uber Eats, Instacart, Amazon Flex. And I'm joined by Damon Day, the new Get Out Debt Guy. Say hello, Damon.
Hello, Steve.
Let's be real. That's always a good way to be.
Yeah,
Life
you don't
these days is
want to
getting...
be unreal.
Well, then you would be like
Fake.
an inflatable Damon.
Okay, show went a different direction. Already off the rails.
Life these days is getting more expensive. If you've already cut back on eating out, streaming services, and all the extras, the only place left to go to bring in more income is to find a side hustle that really makes dollars and cents. And that's why this conversation matters. Damon makes a ton of side hustle money every month testing these apps, so you don't have to stumble through trial and error. And we're going to break it all down today. The best evening windows to work, how to map hot zones without wasting miles, what a real hourly looks like after gas and taxes and wear and tear, and the acceptance rate myths that keep you stuck on low-pay orders. Hey, we're going to cover the small multi-apping without risk of deactivation, the stacking trips, the spotting tip bait, and a simple 90-minute power block you can repeat 3 nights a week, and when to shut it down so you don't trade sleep for pennies. Damon, I've got a list of 10 different reasons why people say they can't do it, and some things that we can overcome. But first, I think it's really important for you to share your perspective on, making that extra money and, tell people exactly, what you've done recently as an example.
Yeah, as you know, Steve, I'm weird, right? I geek out on this stuff. I don't know why. I love talking about it. I love the challenge of it. And honestly, I think I just like getting out of the office at night, driving the Tesla. The Tesla is very fun to drive, by the way. Especially the summer nights out where I live, North Phoenix, out there, no traffic. It's just nice. I actually enjoy it, and I get paid money to do it. But yeah, this is a topic I called Steve yesterday, and he goes, "What's the topic for tomorrow?" And I said, I want to talk about gig work. And it's something we've covered, quite a few times on this podcast, but it's been a few months. And there's a couple different angles that I wanted to take on it. But, for those of you that are new, or for those of you that have forgotten, Steve and I started this experiment called the Penny Stupid Project back in 2022. So it's been a couple of years now. And the whole idea behind it was, let's try some of the side hustle stuff. Let's figure it out. Let's see if you can make money at it or not make money at it. Because I would talk to people all the time about ways to make extra money and suggest this and maybe Uber or DoorDash or whatever. And oh my gosh, the pushback. All the pushback. Every excuse in the book, and we're going to cover some of those. And so I finally just said, you know what? Well, let me see what it's really like, because I had no concept of it. And that first month, what did I make, Steve? I grossed about $6,500 driving Lyft that first month we did it back then.
You really went overboard.
I went totally overboard. I called it part-time, but I was, again, gamifying the thing, going, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to get this $5, and I was driving the crap out of my car that first month just because I was having fun doing it. But over the last couple of years, I've got it to a point where it's almost just automatic. Last week, the week we just finished, I made $963. And it wasn't a special week. It wasn't hey, we're going to talk about this on the podcast, so I'm I'm going to spend a whole bunch of extra time and really inflate the numbers.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we were going to do this topic until it came to me in a dream yesterday.
Yeah.
Just because.
So that was 963 last week.
Last week. And
Right.
that wasn't like I'm out driving. I'm in the office all day, every day. I've got kids in sports. I've got 3 kids, a wife, and 3 dogs. Steve knows I have a busy life. And
Yeah.
I can squeeze in an hour here, 2 hours there. Mostly during the week, it's almost always in the evening. After dinner, the kids have gone to bed. I'm just chilling. I could sit down and unwind and watch a Netflix show, or I could go do a couple of deliveries, and
Well,
I like.
that's why I like your approach, because it's that whole kind of power block thing that I teased. You can just have a concentrated period of time when it's best and when it's right. And as Damon said, he's doing like almost $4,000 a month, not driving all night, not driving all day, just picking and choosing. And that's what I want you to listen to here, because you don't have to make huge sacrifices. But if you're like $1,000 a month short, or you just need another $1,000 to save, it's easy to do if you listen carefully. So, Damon, let me start to run through this list, because I know you're going to mention some of these things. And I have a list of, ever since we've been doing this project, you were doing the gig stuff, and I was doing the Amazon FBA thing. But it's interesting because both of us have heard the same objections or pushbacks from people, no matter what the opportunity is. All right. But in the gig app thing, number 1, I don't have time after work.
That's a big one. Nobody has time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So this is where you can use your, 60 or 90 minute power block way you do things.
Yeah. We all have the same 24 hours, and every area is different. But a lot of what I do is I build around if I'm going to be out anywhere. My wife needs me to do this, or last night, for instance, this was Monday. Yesterday, I made $50. Not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It was one delivery. I was in my office. I was doing emails. It was, 8 o'clock at night. Boom, Walmart throws up hey, we need a shop and deliver. And it was like, I don't remember, it was like 15 items or something. The local Walmart that's 2.5 miles from me. I'm just, in the office, just putzing around doing emails, getting my day ready for tomorrow. And I go, oh, okay. It was paying $44. I'm like, I'll go do that. No big deal. And then I'm telling my wife, oh, I got a Walmart run. She goes, oh. And then she pulls up, real
By
quick,
the way,
I need bread. I need this. Since you're going, since she was
right.
up. So I'm like, okay, fine. But it makes sense. So I'm out and getting some stuff for her that she needs that Fry's was out of. So I had to grab those at Walmart. I went and did that delivery. While I was on that delivery, I got it's like a $7 DoorDash on the way. I swung by, grabbed that. So I ended up making $51. I was out of the house door to door, because I hit my timer and my tracker when I leave the house. I don't sit in parking lots. I don't do that. So I did that on the way back. I didn't get another delivery, so I came straight back home. I was gone for about an hour and 10 minutes, and I had like $51.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was it. I could have, watched a Netflix show. So you can make time if it's something that you need to do. It's not hard.
Yeah, you don't have to stay out all night. You can, like pick a 60 or 90 minute block. And Damon, when is the best time after work that you notice that you get the most requests on these apps?
Yeah. So, and here's the big thing. Every area is going to be different. So you have to test, right? You have to test your market. So what might be great for me is not necessarily going to be great for you. And unfortunately, here's what will happen to a lot of people. They'll sign up on, say, one app, and they get on DoorDash, okay?
Yeah, and
they'll do their first. Yeah, they'll do their first. Oh, I'm going to go try this out. Damon says I can make $1 million, so I'm going to go do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll have a bad experience the first time. They'll get a couple of crappy orders that are high miles, and they're not making $40 an hour like I do, because they don't have any experience. They don't understand their market yet. They don't know what they're doing. They've got one app going, not 5 like I have. And it takes time to build up to that, right? You have to give it time.
Yeah, but let's talk about how far you've come. Because when you first started, you were learning stupid lessons along the way. But I remember right now, it seems like a lot of your focus is shopping, food delivery, that type of stuff. And when you first started, I remember you telling me,
Yeah.
there is no way I would ever do that. That is terrible. It takes forever. I don't know what I'm doing in those stores. And you avoided it.
I did.
Until you actually did it and learned it and realized, like apps like the Walmart delivery app tells you exactly where to go on each aisle to pick up the thing. And you can be in and out of that store with 15 items in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, when I first started, I was just only doing Lyft. And I enjoyed talking to people, and I really liked it. And it was simple and easy. It was point A to point B, go pick them up here, drop them off there. And it was just cruising, right? It was easy. And I was making good part-time money doing it. And then, I would tell Steve all the time, I don't really want to try the shopping. I suck at shopping. I take forever in stores. Doesn't sound fun, yada, yada,
I don't know where anything is.
Yeah. And then I got to take my hat off to Lyft. They really helped me because they totally screwed up their pricing and their payout. And they basically went, we don't care about drivers. We're going to drop the payout so low that it makes no sense for anybody to drive for us anymore. Unfortunately,
but the funny thing is, I miss that because I miss the stories of like the narcoleptic phone sex operator.
Yeah, I haven't had many of those at Fry's grocery store, but
no.
but it kind of forced me to say, well, screw this. I'm not doing this anymore. So let me go try this other thing. And as you recall, Steve, the first shop we ever did that I accepted on Instacart, I enlisted my wife's help because I thought, well, she's better at shopping than I am. So maybe she can help me. So we accept this order. I don't remember the details. I think it was like $30 it was paying. And I was like, oh, it's $30.
All I remember is there was lots of swearing.
Oh, man, my wife and I went into the store and it was like 60 items. I had no idea what I was doing. Again, there's a learning curve for everybody. It takes a while. And we were in that store so long trying to find these items because we never even shopped in that store before, that she had to leave to go pick up one of our kids and left me to finish the shopping. Like the two of us could not even get it done. We were in there 2 hours, still hadn't finished the shop where we drove separate. She had to leave.
Yeah.
And I went to the delivery all in. It took me like 3 hours to get that thing done. And I made like $30. And she has never gone on another shop with me. That was it. She's the one and done. But that's the typical person that I talk to, right? That'll be like, oh, I tried that. Or my cousin's uncle's Fred's dog tried that and it didn't work out. So, I mean, we can get into our excuses that you have a list of, but just get the excuses out of the way and just try it. And I'm telling you, you will probably not enjoy it in the beginning, but you have to get past that. The diamonds are buried where most of people, stop digging, right? They quit before they get there.
Right.
And I've got this stuff down to a science now. But again, I've been kind of doing this stuff, dabbling in it for a couple of years. And now I've got it figured out where it doesn't even feel, it's not work. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I like driving the Tesla. It's like Monday, I think I went out for 2 hours. Tuesday, I went out for 0.7 hours. I track all this stuff. Wednesday was like 2 hours. I mean, this is just, here and there. Most of my money was made on Sunday. Steve asked me what the best time was. Out where I'm at, Sundays. Everybody's stocking up on all their groceries for the week. And so Sunday is always my busiest day on Instacart, Walmart, Spark, DoorDash. For Uber Eats and DoorDash, it's like the dinner rush, between 5 and 8 usually, but I don't even usually get out until 8 o'clock. And for me, my secret is I'm later because I got softball practice. I coach my daughter's softball team on Mondays and Wednesdays. So Wednesdays, I don't even turn on the app until 9 o'clock at night. But you know what? Most drivers go home before that. So I'm in an area where at night, there's not very many drivers. There's not nearly as many orders, but there's not very many drivers either. It's not always about, I live in a really busy area that has a ton of orders. That doesn't mean you're going to make a lot of money.
Well, let's talk about the objection that the pay is too low. And one of the reasons why I've observed through you is that people complain about the pay being low is because they're just not doing it right. You go and turn on one app and then go sit in the parking lot waiting for the next order. You're going to waste a whole lot of time. So, Damus, tell us about like how you stack apps or you decline bad offers or you just pick the right times. So you're like you sit at home doing stuff until the app dings and then you go out and do it. You're not out there sitting.
Yeah. And of course, I'm fortunate enough my house is in an area that we have some nice high-end restaurants and some grocery stores and a Walmart close. So, not everybody has that luxury if you don't live, in geographically close to a lot of the stuff. But here's a perfect example. I meet gig drivers all the time, right? You recognize a gig driver when you walk in, they're standing there with their phone. And I talk to them. I like talking to people. I like helping people. And I'm always, striking up conversations and, oh, do you just do DoorDash? And almost every time it's like, oh yeah, I just do DoorDash or I just do Instacart or I just do Walmart Spark. And, the ones I get to know a little bit, you don't have a whole bunch of time if you're in there, waiting for a pizza to get delivered and you're rushing back out the door. But, I'll talk to them about, hey, have you tried this app? Have you tried this? And most of the time, all I hear is bitching and complaining. Everybody's pissed. Nobody's happy. Oh yeah, this sucks. I got to wait here, and here's a great example. Yesterday, the guy, I know him pretty well. I see him at Walmart all the time. Nice guy, really like him. He's a little hustler. And like I pulled up next to him and he's just like, oh man, it's dead today. I think this was might have been Sunday. Oh, it's dead today. I've only gotten 4 and and it's just, it's not making enough money. And I pulled it, I was like, this is only my second Walmart delivery today. I said, actually, I was on Instacart. And I made $150 on Instacart in the last couple hours. And I had a pretty banger day on Instacart. And I've told him this before by saying, you got to get on Instacart. You got to get on DoorDash. I'm like, you can do it to where when Walmart is slow, you have these other apps that you can use and you can stack these orders up and get a Walmart shop and go get those groceries and then leave your other apps on. And, oh, I got a pizza delivery going the same way as my Walmart delivery for an extra $10. And so I don't make $40 an hour just by sitting there and Walmart's like, here's an order for $40 an hour. I usually have to manufacture my $40 an hour with multiple apps. And I'm telling him this and he's just like, then, it's too much, headache and it's hassle and it's always resistance. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And we're sitting next to each other and I've got a positive attitude about it. I'm trying to tell him how to do it. And he's upset and kind of negative and you can't make any money. And Walmart dings me with the ride. I feel kind of guilty because he was already sitting there when I pulled up. I came from my my Instacart thing, and he'd been sitting there for an hour at Walmart waiting for the next order. I just pulled in, and I'm pulled in forward. He's backed in, so we're face to face with our windows, right? And so we're chatting, and mine dings, and I get an order, and it wasn't a great order. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. But it was $20 for like 6 miles. But it was keeping me in my area where I know I can get DoorDash and Instacart and Uber rides as well. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that 20, get the groceries in, and then I can maybe get a pizza or burrito delivery in that same time frame and then build my $40 an hour. But I feel so guilty. My phone's like ding, ding, and it's a distinctive sound. So he goes, did you get one? And I'm like, sorry, bro. Yeah. Because the way, if it's like you're competing with the other drivers. So I got it and we finished our conversation. I had to pull out I felt really bad and then pull into the spot you go to pick up the orders. And then he ended up, as I was getting my stuff loaded in the truck, I saw him drive away. Like he didn't get anything. Poor guy was sitting there for an hour waiting. I'm out there busy doing other things and get there right in time for the drop to hit. I get the order. I don't know. Maybe it's because I have a positive attitude about it. I don't know. The gig gods smiled on me on that one, but I felt really bad. But it's like, dude, you could have been out there making money and you're just sitting in the Walmart parking lot hoping Walmart blesses you rather than going out and getting it.
Well, it's like I mentioned in the intro that, hey, if it's dead and it's not working for you, go home. You don't have to sit there. And if you can decline bad offers, this myth about your acceptance rate, because I mean, like some of your acceptance rates, I think, are almost 0, aren't they?
Yeah, my acceptance rate on we'll get down to 0 on Uber Eats and DoorDash every once in a while, but they hover between 5 and 10%. And if you're a gig worker, then you know what that means. But most people get so caught up in the app wants me to do this and the app wants me to do that, and
I got to do it. I got to do it.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, you have to take control. And if you go over to our Penny Stupid channel, I have lots of videos on my strategy and how I do it.
Let's tell people where to find it. That's on YouTube.
Yeah.
look for the Penny Stupid channel. Tons of videos.
Yeah, if you just go to YouTube search and put Penny Stupid Project, we'll pop right up.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to do this stuff. And if you don't do it the right way, and there's not just one way to do it, but if you just do what the app says, you're going to get discouraged. You're not going to make very much money and you're going to want to quit. And I'm not saying, oh, just go out there, turn on your phone and you're going to make $40 an hour. And it might not even be possible to make $40 an hour in every area. And I know it's not. So, you have to figure out what your reality is, but the only way you're going to know that is to test it out and to try it. But the whole point of this podcast today is it's easy money when you figure it out. And if I can make $500 to $1,000 a week, super part-time, you can make $500 a month. You can make $1,000 a month. I can accidentally make $1,000 a month. I almost did it last week, right? So if you're
David,
in debt, go ahead.
I've said in the past that, if you want an expert consultation on how you make this happen, here's what's funny. This is a good example. I've said in the past, go to Damon's website, Damonday, DAMONDAY.com. Set up a call with him. Pick his brain. Let him be your consultant and help you get going. And yet, everyone has an objection. They can't do it. Like one of the things that I've heard over and over is, this is stupid because gas and car wear and tear will eat up the profit. But here's what people don't know is that if you log your mileage and deduct it at tax time, the current IRS rate is 67 cents per mile.
No, they bumped it to 70.
Oh, they did? Okay,
yeah,
good. Well, the deduction usually outpaces actual fuel and maintenance costs. You just need to know that to deduct it. And 70 cents a mile, that's decent.
Well, yeah, and that plays into the type of orders you have to take. I mean, the IRS says you can deduct 70 cents a mile, and I see people out there taking orders that pay them 50 cents a mile. There's no profit in that, and that's why they go broke, because they're not doing it right. And, there's definitely a method to the madness, but that's my favorite objection I get is I don't want to depreciate my car. And I always just have to slap my head. I'm like, are you driving a Maybach? I mean, what kind of car are we talking about? I got a 2022 Honda Accord. Okay. I drove, and I track all this stuff. I drove 370 miles last week. That's a lot of miles.
Yeah, made almost $1,000.
Yeah, made almost $1,000. So did I depreciate my Tesla? Yeah, I depreciated my Tesla a little bit. How much did I depreciate my Tesla by driving that 370 miles? I don't know, but I know it ain't no $1,000, right? So when you're putting miles on the car, but it's returning dollars, you're essentially cashing in on that depreciation right now, and you can use that money to pay down debt or invest or whatever. But if you're doing it right, you're not just trading equity in the car for cash now. You're getting the cash now, plus you're getting the deduction, plus you should be getting a profit on it if you're doing it right. So the car is just a tool, much like a carpenter uses a saw. The saw blade is going to wear out, but the carpenter doesn't sit at home and go, oh, I don't want to do any jobs because it'll eventually wear out my saw blade.
Right. I can't mow my lawn because it's going to depreciate the lawnmower.
Yeah. And then I got to go buy a new saw blade. So I'm just going to sit here and look at this bright, shiny new saw blade that I have in my garage, right? The car is just a tool. You know what happens if you put a whole bunch of miles on it, but you're profitable in doing that? You make a whole bunch of money. If that car goes kaput after 300,000 miles, it's fully depreciated.
Buy a new one.
Yeah. But if you did it right, you made enough money, and hopefully if you follow what I teach you at Penny Stupid, you set aside enough money, and you just get a new car sooner. That's much nicer.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at last week. You made almost $1,000, and just your mileage deduction alone was $259.
Yeah.
So that offset, money that you made. Now, here's another one. Now, if we go back to your very first pickup, I don't remember if it was Uber or Lyft. I think it was Lyft.
It was Lyft. I'm not a fan of Uber, and I don't like Lyft anymore.
The next objection that I've heard from people is it's dangerous after dark.
It can be.
And your very first pickup, I think,
it was very first.
Is a good example of that. But if you pick well-lit areas, you trust your gut, you decline sketchy orders, you can protect yourself.
And keep in mind, that's like Uber and Lyft I don't even recommend people do Uber and Lyft people anymore. The pay is
Right.
so abysmally low.
Oh, it's
You can make
ridiculous.
twice as much money with grocery delivery with a lot less
Yeah.
miles, and you can listen to whatever the hell you want. I listen to podcasts all the time, right? That's
Yeah.
the other thing. When I'm out driving, especially if I have nobody in my car now, I'm doing things I'd be doing anyway. Listening to the podcast that Steve just edited and put up, listening to some other financial podcasts. Sometimes just relaxing and listening to, music, right? And just
Oh, wait,
cruising.
you gotta plug the true crime podcast.
Or the true crime podcast. Steve's got a
True
really good
crime,
one.
True crime cases you haven't heard. It's about 40 minutes, comes out once a week. It'll help satisfy your ears when you're doing one of those runs.
Yeah. And then, how much quote unquote human interaction do I actually have if I'm doing grocery delivery? Unless you're dropping off alcohol, you don't even see the person, but it's fine.
Right.
I've not had a single instance where I was like, what the hell? Now I did when I was back in the day driving Lyft. I had a couple, and again, those videos are on the Penny Stupid Project channel. But there was a couple where I was just like, nope, I ain't stopping
hell
here.
No. There's that one where you're sitting on the side of the road and the car whips around behind you.
Oh yeah, and we got it on the dash cam. I'm out, totally dark, out in the sketch neighborhood. But this was at the very beginning, and I liked it when I first started doing it because we had just moved to Phoenix, so I was learning learning what was around the valley and stuff. And you learn real quick what areas you want to be in and what areas you don't. But yeah, this car was just like, it was like clocking me, dude, I swear. And I'm like, you see him on the dash cam, I'm just like, nope, I'm fucking out. And I just drove away, canceled the ride. I'm like, no, I don't want any part of whatever this is.
One of my favorite stories had to do with one of your very first rides where you showed up to pick up the guy and the cops were there.
That was the very first ride. The very first. Talk about having the wherewithal not to quit. That very first lift. Remember, I went down, had my car inspected because you had to get the car inspected. Yeah. And it was down south from my house where the inspection place was. So I was not familiar with the area at all. I got the inspection done and I went, what the hell? I'm an hour from the house. Let me flip on my app. And bing, I got a ride for like $12. And I'm like, I called Steve on the phone. I'm like, Steve, I got my first ride. I wonder how this is going to go. Right. And I'm on the phone with Steve and I pull around the corner and there's a cop, lights flashing on this residential street I'm pulling up at. And I'm like, dude, I think the cops are at the house that I'm picking the guy up at. And as I'm getting closer, I'm like, yep, that's the house. And I stopped and I had a reflection moment. Like, why the F am I doing this again? What am I doing this for? I don't need to be out here.
Didn't you ask the cop if it was safe or something like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I stopped like several houses down. And like I said, I had that introspection. Like, should I just cancel and go home and forget about this whole stupid idea? Like, what, what's the best case scenario here? I don't get shot. What am I doing? And I was like, you know what? I've made a commitment. I'm going to do this as an experiment. What could go wrong? So I just went ahead and did it. And I pulled up and I'm like, yeah, I'm Damon. I'm the Lyft guy. And the cop comes out and I'm like, and he comes back to the trunk with me. And I'm like, so, what's going on here? and it turned out it was a house where it's like a sober living
halfway
kind of facility. Yeah. Where people are like getting sober or whatever. And they had an issue with one of the guys and, to the point where the cops had to be called and they needed to take this guy from the house to go to this more of an actual facility.
Right.
And I was the guy that got elected through Lyft to take him. And I was just like, what can you take? I asked him, I'm like, can you just take him? And he's like, oh, you'll be fine. And I'm like, and the guy's coming out, he's got a box of his stuff, right? And I'm just like,
and he's pissed off and everything.
Yeah, so I mean, you go watch the video, and obviously I lived through the experience, and it actually was kind of funny. And I called, and I remember I had to like drop him off, and I was like, I'm out of here, because they were like, wait, we don't have him in our system, you can't leave him. And this guy didn't even have a phone. Like, he didn't book the ride, so I even had no idea who this guy was. Somebody else booked the ride for him. And the facility was like, but I like walked the guy in because the guy didn't know what to do. And I didn't know what to do. I'm not a professional Lyft driver. this is my first go at it, So I help them carry his stuff in. We walk into the facility and we just stand there, and the receptionist, there's two of them, they turn and they look at us and nobody's saying anything. So I'm standing there looking at the guy. I'm looking at them. They're looking at us. And I'm just like uncomfortable silence. So I'm like, hi, I'm Damon. I'm a Lyft driver. And this is George. I'm supposed to drop him here. And they're pulling up in the system and they have a seat. And they're like, and I'm like, okay, thank you. And they're like, hold on, sir, hold on. We don't have him in the system. And I'm like, okay.
Not a problem.
I'm sorry, but this is where the app's like done. It canceled it out. The ride's over. Like, there's nothing I could do with this guy. I don't even know who the guy is. I'm like, he's not coming to my house. I got to go.
Well, let's talk about if you had a Damon back then when you were first starting, somebody that you were consulting with and who was guiding you and giving you advice.
I had you.
Would you have avoided?
I had you. So I called you and I'm like, dude, this is BS. I don't know what I'm thinking. And then you tried to call me, walk me. Oh, it's fine. I was following you online. You're good. Try again.
Yeah.
It's easy to say. Your butt's not in the seat.
Yeah, but if you had a Damon who could have, given you the lowdown before you got going, you could have avoided so many things that you had to learn the hard way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I had you to kind of as my, eye in the sky kind of thing, but you didn't have any experience doing it. And we were
right.
So, yeah, I mean, it would definitely have been a lot easier if I had somebody that could say, okay, here's what you're going to want to avoid. Don't go to the east side of town. Here's why, and do this and do that.
Right.
And that definitely would have helped the learning curve a lot. But, the overall point is I stuck with it, and I ended up, the very next ride that I got was actually a really nice one, super nice guy, MMA fighter. And I ended up making $40 on that ride back when Lyft used to pay money.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went, wait, $40? That was easy. Huh.
Yeah.
And then, but I could have very easily quit just after that first one. But again, that was back in 2022. I don't even recommend people do Lyft rides anymore. I don't do them anymore. I do Lyft Black, which is the high tier, very rarely, every once in a while, if I get rides. But I don't do regular Lyft. It does not pay enough money to justify. Lyft pays you just enough money to depreciate your car, and that's it. It doesn't give you any profit.
All right. Speaking of that, another objection. These apps are shady and just exploit drivers. And that's true because the apps are built for the company's benefit.
Yeah.
But you hold the control. You can set your own minimums. You can accept only the orders that you want. You can multi-app to multiply your hourly rates. Don't use the apps. Don't let them use you.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to get into all that detail because they can go to the Penny Stupid Project. But yes, you have to look at this. People get bitch about these apps. And I always have to look at it and go, if it wasn't for these apps, you wouldn't even have anything to bitch about right now.
Mm-hmm.
So these apps are merely providing an opportunity.
Yeah, they're sending you business.
Yeah, it's up to you to decide what opportunities do you want to take. So ultimately, if you're sitting in Walmart parking lot and you're pissy and you're not getting orders, that's your fault. That's not Walmart's fault. That's your fault.
If you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Remember back when I used to do in the Lyft days, we used to laugh about the absurdity, not at the drivers, but about the absurdity of the situation where they would just be stacked at the airport.
At the airport,
queue, like cattle, in the queue, and there's like 50 drivers. You could look on the app. There's 50 drivers in the queue.
Yeah. And they didn't look motivated. They were just standing there chit-chatting,
they're smoking a cigarette, just chilling. And remember, I did it one time only, just as an experiment. And I sat there for 2 effing hours watching people come and go, guys sitting there, seeing them sitting there for an hour, getting one ride. I'm like, that ride can definitely not make up for having to wait for a whole hour to get it. And in the meantime, I'd be out driving around the airport. And then I would kind of laugh because I would get pinged for airport rides all the time, not in the queue. And I figured out that Lyft was screwing those drivers because if they knew they had a lot of people flying in, they would want to grab other drivers that were 5 or 10 miles away and give the rides to those drivers so they could keep these people in the pen for when they needed them. Lyft doesn't care about maximizing your revenue as a driver. They just care about making sure they have plenty of drivers. If you have to wait an hour, that's your problem. They're not working for you. Exactly.
So another objection, because this is a good one, follows right up. There are too many drivers already.
Yep.
But competition means being smarter, not following the herd. Work peak hours, know the surge areas, don't waste time with stupid offers that aren't going to pull. Damon's rule is move with the money, not with the crowd.
Yeah, 100%. And I get into all that stuff over at Penny Stupid. Go there, watch it. And I know this topic, obviously anybody that's still listening to this, it's going to maybe resonate with them, but this is not for everybody. And I'm not saying, well, to get out of debt, you have to go drive DoorDash. That's not what I'm saying, but it is an opportunity with Instacart and these gig apps to make extra money. If you need an extra $500 a month, an extra $1,000 a month, if you embrace these things and you do it right, you can make an extra 500, an extra $1,000, get yourself out of debt, or even if you don't need it to get out of debt. More important, invest it for your future. I call it DoorDash Millionaire. If you're not in debt, great. We got you out of debt already, whatever. If you can make $1,000 a month and just throw it in a Roth IRA or throw it in a regular investment account,
especially
or whatever.
If you're like in your 20s.
100%. If you're, under 30 years old, you can work DoorDash and Instacart for a couple of years, throw that money in a Roth IRA, and you will retire a millionaire, even if you never touch that money again after a few years. Just let it sit there and grow. I mean, it's like
this is why the forklift operator that sat there doing his job all those years, who stuffed as much away as he could, ends up dying and donating $5 million to something.
Yeah,
because they put the money in and let it grow.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm more than happy to help anybody that's wanting to learn this. There is for sure a learning curve. Wanting to learn. I am wanting. But just go. The first thing is go to the Penny Stupid Project YouTube channel. Watch the videos. Make some comments on the videos. If you have questions, I'll respond to them. If you have, hey, I'm getting ready to sign up for this. Here's my advice for anybody listening to this right now. Set all the objections aside. Verify if you haven't objected to something, verify it first. Try it out. It doesn't cost you any money to sign up on the apps. That's the one thing. These are things that you can do. You got your car, you got your phone. It's not some quote unquote business opportunity that I'm going to invest $5,000 and hope this works. And it's none of that crap. You can just sign up and it's completely flexible. You don't have to report to anybody. You don't have to have a set schedule. You can just do it or not do it whenever you want. Here's my advice right now. Here's the 4 main apps that I recommend you sign up for, because there is going to probably be a waiting list on at least some of these apps. You might not even be able to get on one of these apps for 6 months or a year. So sign up now. Go to Walmart Spark. Spark is the app that you drive for Walmart. Download Instacart, download DoorDash, and download Uber. Not to drive people around, but you download Uber to get Uber Eats.
Yeah, Uber Eats.
Yeah. Sign up for all 4 of those. And start that
and then
process.
Call Damon.
Yeah.
Then call Damon.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you're gonna go drive for all 4 at once, but you don't know. Like you said, you might be on a waiting list on 2 or 3 of them. But just get started. Get to the point where the apps are active on your phone. So if you wanted to, you could say, boop, I'm gonna turn that on and see what happens. And go from there. And even if you only made an extra $100 a week while you were trying to figure it out, would you not want an extra $400 to pay down debt? Or, even if you're going bankrupt or, I have clients where I'm negotiating their debt. If I'm settling a debt for a client, the more money they have, the sooner they have the money, the sooner I can go in and get a deal and get that debt resolved and get it behind them. Extra money is never a bad thing.
That tags right into my 2 remaining burning objections that I have before we wind this up. I'm embarrassed to be seen delivering food. Yeah, but flip the frame. It's not about status. It's about strategy. You're trading spare hours for extra income that builds savings and profit, kills debt, funds something important. That's smarter than just sitting there broke and complaining.
Yeah. I mean,
and here's my last one. I'm going to give this one to you and then I'm going to let you do your tirade. I've tried it before and barely made anything. That's not proof it doesn't work. It's proof that you didn't have the right playbook.
Yeah. Well, you can make all the excuses in the world, and I'm not even saying these are the be-all, end-all. I'm just saying, from what I've seen, this is a very easy way to make extra money with no investment. If you've got something else that you can do that you can make extra money, I'm all for that, 100%. as far as, being embarrassed, I mean, yeah, keeping up with the Joneses might be what got you into the tough spot that you're in. And if you're worried about it, I mean, I've ran into a couple people that I know. I don't care. They go, "Hey, David, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah." And I'll tell them, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this Instacart thing. It's really cool. I got my son doing it. We're doing it, on the weekends or in our spare time. We got, investment accounts now going. I call it DoorDash Millionaire." And I've got people that are like, "Oh, really? Tell me more. Maybe I should be out there doing that." I'm like, actually, you should. It's pretty easy money." And I mean, you know, how many people go, "Oh, you're out there making an extra $3,000 to $4,000 a month on the side?
No, I don't
Wow,
want to do that.
yeah, that
No.
sucks." Even if they don't admit it at first, they might be like,
Oh.
I could use an extra $3,000 that I could pay down credit cards or invest for my future."
Well,
So tell me a
it's
little
like
bit about it.
it's like that big company CEO that I met in Fort Lauderdale
Yeah.
all those years ago, who drove from his gated community to his, corporate office downtown Fort Lauderdale every day and picked up somebody with, Uber or Lyft on his way to work. So he was just converting dead commuting time to time he was making money going that way anyway.
Yeah. It's amazing how fast it can add up. And I'm not a proponent of this should be a full-time source of income. I mean, if you're in a spot where it has to be, fine, do what you have to do, but make that short term. You want to have, this is stuff where the way you maximize these gig apps is this is part-time work that you work around your already busy schedule. And this is extra money. This is not, if you try to do this full time, you can do it, but then it gets a lot more stressful. You start making a lot less per hour. So it's about part-time, doing this part-time.
Yeah, you make your own rules and then you break your own rules.
Oh, Steve, how many times have I called you be like, "Why do I not listen to my rules?" Because I've got it down to a science where I can see an offer, and you mentioned this earlier, and I didn't expound upon it, but the trick to this is knowing how to say no to these apps.
Right.
You have to say no. You have to only take profitable orders, and they will throw you orders that I literally laugh out loud when I get them. Like, are you effing serious, Uber?
Yeah, no way. And
I'm going to drive a
somebody
burrito
takes
20 miles.
Yeah, and it gets delivered by somebody else.
And somebody does it. And when I see it leave the board, I go, "You got to watch my videos, bro. You cannot be taking that order. You're not making any money. You can't drive a burrito 20 miles for $10. You will go broke and hate your life."
All right, let's end this show on a good laugh. All right, tell the story about how you were doing a delivery and didn't realize that you text the customer.
This was like an early morning. This was 2 years ago. Again, video is at Penny Stupid.
It's on there.
Steve, I think you're right, man. I might have to just start doing Lyft again, even though it'll cost me money to do Lyft because I don't get paid enough. But for the stories, yo.
Oh, yeah.
Just now,
but you were doing this was a food delivery.
This was a food delivery, but it just reminded me of how many videos and funny stories we got out of the Lyft days. And food delivery very rarely does have like a really funny story, but this one, so I'm driving, it's early in the morning. I'm delivering to McDonald's or something. And I'm driving down the road on the way, and I got my dash cam on, and I'm texting something to the customer, voice texting. So I'm hitting the button on my phone, and I'm saying, "Hey, I'm around the corner," whatever it was. I don't remember.
Oh, didn't they ask you for like, make sure you get extra ice or something like
that? Yeah, that's what it was. So they asked to make sure I got extra ice or whatever. And I said, I hit the button, boop. And I'm like, "No problem." And then I'm driving, and right after that, some asshole like swerves. You can see it on the dash cam. It's a 2-lane road, and like swerves around and cuts in front, cuts me off. And I was just like, "Asshole." And then, I'm just driving, and then I don't know why I didn't connect it, but then I realized, I glanced up because my phone's on a mount, like in the top left corner of my window, and I realized I hadn't sent the text message yet. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I got to send that." So I hit send, and then you see me driving, and then all of a sudden you see my eyes dart back up to the phone, and then you see my face go, "Oh my God." And I realized that the voice text was still on. So when I said "fucking asshole,"
right.
It said that in the text message, and then I sent it. So I'm looking at this thing going, She's like, can you please get extra ice? And then my response is, no problem, fucking asshole. And I just wanted to die.
Oh my God. And the video up there on the Penny Stupid channel of that exact moment is priceless.
Yeah, Steve even did like a screen pause and he did a voiceover like, oh no.
It's your eyes darting over to the phone.
Dude, can you imagine you're doing this McDonald's breakfast delivery and they ask nicely, by the way, for extra ice, and you're the customer and you see, no problem, fucking asshole.
Fucking asshole.
So I responded, I don't know how you walk it back, but I walked it back and I was like, I responded to the text, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that was not meant for you. Some guy just cut me off and I promise I have it on my dash cam. And then when we published the video, I sent it to the customer. Like, this was like the next day, I sent it to him. And I was just like, oh my gosh, no problem, fucking asshole.
All right, on that note, Damon, until next time, I will see ya.
Peace, fucking asshole.
Got a money question keeping you up at night? Well, don't just Google it. Get real answers from real people who actually know what they're talking about. Head to getoutofdebt.org/podcast to ask your question, and you might hear it on an upcoming episode. But hey, if you'd rather keep it private, Damon Day has your back. Visit DAMONDAY.com because getting out of debt is easier with the right help. That's getoutofdebt.org/podcast, where smart money questions lead to smarter money moves.